Welcome to my views and news. Some secret documents have been leaked disclosing why Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, could not visit Tigray last year. Last year, Antonio Guterres was in Addis Ababa. He attended African Union summit here. Back then, we reported that he was planning to visit Tigray, Mekelle, Tigray's capital, but he was not allowed to visit Tigray. Now, some documents, UN documents, have been leaked, which indicate why he was not allowed to visit Tigray and what was his response. Secondly, viewers, PM Abiy arrived in Wellega today. I have not seen him visit Wellega in the past few months. His first visit to Wellega. Does it mean that we're seeing a normalization of law and order situation in Wellega, and OLA is seriously involved in the start of talks? Thirdly, viewers, an EZEMA party executive committee member has quit the party. Who is he? Is it because he contested or he announced to contest party election against Berhanu Naga? Or is there some other reason due to which he quit today? Firstly, viewers, it was December last year when Antonio Guterres arrived in Addis Ababa. He attended African Union summit here. And he wanted to visit Tigray too. But he could not visit Tigray. In Addis Ababa, a meeting was held between Antonio Guterres and PM Abiy. Now, 4 documents, UN's internal documents have been leaked. Washington Post has written an article, it has published an article about the 4 documents. The 4 documents indicate that Demeke Mekonnen, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Ethiopia, wrote a letter to Antonio Guterres telling the UN Secretary General that Ethiopian government was unable to allow UN Secretary General to visit Tigray because of security situation. The UN Secretary General was extremely upset. He wanted to confront Ethiopian ambassador at the UN. And he talked to some other UN officials, and he said it was the first time in his career as UN Secretary General that a country denied visit to him. He was angry, extremely angry, and he threatened that he would ensure that Demeke would not do anything like that in future. Now, the documents have been leaked. And Stephen Dujarric, who's spokesperson of UN Secretary General, yesterday spoke about this leakage. That who leaked this these documents? It means there are some elements which are spying on the UN headquarters in New York, in other places. He did not deny, Stephen did not deny the letter written from Demeke Mekonnen to the UN Secretary General. PM Abiy apologized to UN Secretary General in his meeting when the two met at the start of December there. But Guterres was not allowed to visit Tigray. So PM Abiy's apology was merely a way of appeasing the UN Secretary General. Why wasn't Guterres allowed to visit Tigray? Because I think in December, peace deal had been just signed. In November, TPLF was still in power in Tigray. Tigray had not handed over heavy weapons. Now we are seeing that relations between Tigray and federal government have improved a lot. But in December, that trust was missing. That is why I personally think that Guterres was not allowed to visit Tigray by the government. Secondly, viewers, PM Abiy was seen in Wellega today. He arrived in Nakamte, East Wellega, where he was welcomed by Shimelis Abdisa, Oromia president. Ethiopian army's officials were there too. Local tribal elders, Abagadas were there, religious elders were there too, and he held some community discussions. He addressed a community gathering there, and he asked, and he said that peace was the foundation of prosperity. There cannot be any development without peace. He called for peace at the meetings between the meeting attended by religious elders, tribal elders, and army officials. Now, does this visit indicate that law and order situation in Wellega is improving, and OLA and Ethiopian federal government are on the right track and talks could start? More than a month ago, I think, around 2 months ago, if I'm not wrong, the two announced their desire to start talks. But OLA laid out some preconditions. OLA wanted involvement of some third party, broader mechanism with some assurances. Oromia government was ready to talk, but it did not respond to OLA's preconditions. Since then, there has been largely a lull in the fighting in Oromia. No large-scale clashes ongoing. At the same time, we have not seen any start of talks between OLA and Ethiopian government. I talked to an OLA spokesperson last week. He said concrete steps were yet to be taken toward the start of talks. Can PM Abiy's visit be an indication that law and order situation is improving and talks could start? It's too early to say. We can only conclude that intensity of fighting has decreased tremendously in Oromia region, but so far no direct engagement is being reported between OLA and Ethiopian government to find a peaceful solution to the conflict in the region. Thirdly, viewers, another politician has said goodbye to his party, not to politics, it seems. His name is Endualam Arage. He is executive committee member of EZEMA party led by Professor Wellega, who is Minister of Education. The party ran as opposition party in the last general election, but later it joined the government. Now it is at federal cabinet. Endualam Arage announced to contest party election against party chairman Wellega a few months ago. And Wellega welcomed him, I think. But today he quit party. It's not that he is saying goodbye to politics like Skandar Naga. He just resigned from the party, separated himself from the party. He has released a message in connection with this departure. His message is criticism of rulers. And EZEMA is part of the ruling coalition. His message is like he's disgruntled, he's frustrated within the party, that he is unable to work freely. What he is doing did not bring about any change. His opinion, his views were not taken into account making key decisions. So he felt useless. That is why he decided to leave the party. Not a good sign for Ethiopian politics. He was the one who was challenging Wellega. There are no genuine party elections, intra-party elections in Ethiopia. There is no internal democracy in parties. That is why there is no external democracy as well, because the parties have no democracy. Party elections are not held freely. Uh, and maybe after he challenged or after he announced to contest party election against Wellega, he felt sidelined, though he did not say anything about that he was sidelined. But obviously, he was feeling restricted. He was feeling worthless. That is why he decided to quit the party. Skandar Naga said goodbye to politics a few months ago. He founded Balderas and then he just left the party. Not a good sign for politics that politicians are feeling that they're not able to work. They're not being allowed to work. When political means of struggle are frustrated, other means are adopted by people. Other means which could be illegal, which could be violent. So overall, it's not a good sign that there is no democracy within parties and no democracy as well in terms of giving space to opposition parties. And it holds true in all Ethiopian regions that ruling party is the government. Government is the ruling party. Opposition has no major role in bringing the ruling party to justice, in holding them accountable. Opposition is always kept under pressure in Ethiopian politics. That is why we're seeing the results that decisions made by the government are not owned by all parties. Decisions don't create unity. The decisions made by ruling parties create divisions in society. Why? Because opposition groups are not part of decision-making process. Thank you for watching.